What's up, guys? So this week I started a new LLC for my web design business, and I thought I would kind of unveil the curtain on exactly how I set it up, some of the tools I used, and some of that stuff. Now, unlike my website tutorials, like I'm an absolute pro in that stuff. I'm gonna be talking about some like business structure, liability, and tax stuff today. I've done a decent amount of research on this, and I've especially talked to professionals that actually are within that space, and I've paid a decent amount of money for advice in this subject. So like anything else, do your homework, but I would say especially with this stuff, just double check some of the stuff I'm saying to make sure, it's right for you or right for your state. But anyways, so most of the stuff I'm going to be talking about is going to be the way that you'll want to set up your LLC. One of the things is going to be unique because I have a partner in my business, and so that added a unique aspect to it. And I'll share with you what I did in that regard too, because it's going to help me out a lot on taxes and some other stuff. Now, in a previous video, I talked to you guys about starting a web design business with $0, and to form an LLC, it will cost some money. So my advice on that subject is to really just hold off as long as you can, because I think there's a lot of people out there that get excited about starting a business and will establish the LLC prior to actually forming like any sort of income stream or even getting close to it. So I'd say like right before you get an income stream or like right after it starts coming in, that's going to be when you're going to want to start it. Or if you have a lot of startup expenses, then the tax benefits of the LLC will kind of offset the expense of forming the LLC. All right, let's talk about the benefits and just break them down like kind of briefly here. So let's say you have $5,000 of revenue, and to get there you had to buy some like PPC ads or you did some graphic design and you spent $2,500 to get to that $5,000 of revenue. If you don't have an LLC, you have to pay taxes on all $5,000 of revenue. But under an LLC, you only have to pay taxes on your profit. So your expenses actually take away from your revenue, and you only have to pay whatever is left on that profit. So you only have to pay taxes on $2,500 worth of profit. So, if you only have $100 worth of expenses or whatever, your savings are going to be marginal. So that's what I was saying. If you have a decent amount of expenses, you're going to be saving more and more money when it comes to your tax benefits there. So saving money on taxes is going to be one of the primary benefits of an LLC for your web design business, along with the reduced liability. So you've probably known that having your LLC can protect your own personal assets from lawsuits and stuff like that. There are some it's not like a perfect solution, so do your homework on that. But liability protection is going to be another benefit of an LLC. I want to talk to you though about how I pay myself, and it's a bit of a unique setup. To somebody who's not familiar, at least with the having your own business type of world. What's strange to an outsider is I'm an employee of my own organization. And so what I do is to get there, I form an LLC with my state. And to do that, you just go to your corporation commission website. I'm in Arizona, and they've somewhat recently made it all digital. So you just go through and you just basically put in your information, you pick a name, and it was cheap here. I think it was like $50-$60. It's going to vary per state. And sometimes there's like renewal fees and stuff like that. So pay attention to what you have to do in your state. And by the way, it does make sense to form it in your state. Sometimes people form them in Delaware for some legal reasons, or I think like Wyoming or something for tax benefits. But for small companies and stuff, it's really a pain to manage an LLC that's in a different state. So form one in your state. As far as the name goes, I go back and forth with this. You want to pick a niche, because if you niche down in something, you're going to have an easier time getting customers and becoming the name for that niche. But you also don't necessarily want to lock yourself into something. So, if you call yourself like the website design pro and you end up doing SEO later on, it might not work so well. So I would just say careful on like what you name yourself. Try to keep it generic enough that you can do other stuff, but also like focused enough that they know you are a marketing company. So my main company is Telegenic Marketing, and I actually didn't pick that name, but it works out really well because marketing is a lot of different stuff. We could do websites, we could do SEO, we could do email marketing, whatever it might be. All right, so to bring this back to why I started this, but once the LLC is formed, what you can do is with the federal government, so the LLC is on the state level, but with the federal government, you can make a tax election, which basically tells them how you want to be treated on a tax level. And we do an S corporation. And so here's where it brings it full circle to how we pay ourselves. So I'm an employee of my own organization, and I get a W-2 form just like employees would like at a corporation. So I'm on payroll, I get pay stubs and all of that, and I pay my my FICA taxes, my Medicare, my Social Security, all of that through my payroll. But here's where this differs from, just being an employee at another organization. Your FICA taxes are where most of your taxes come out of. So you pay those, which are your Medicare, Medicaid, and then Social Security. And if you look at your pay stubs, you'll see that most of your money is going towards those. And then you have to pay income taxes to the federal government and then your state government. When you are a W-2 employee, you pay both income taxes and FICA. But any distributions you take on top of your salary are exempt from your FICA taxes. So you only have to pay your income taxes on that. Now, everybody's mind initially goes to like, okay, well, let me just pay myself completely in distributions. But you can't do that because the IRS says you have to pay yourself a reasonable salary before you can take out distributions. So, when you're first starting off, you might not be seeing those benefits because if you're just starting a company, you're probably not even making a reasonable salary. But once you get to the point where you have a reasonable salary, then anything after that, you're able to not have to pay your FICA taxes, which can be really big savings as your income and your profit goes up. So we've talked about how it reduces your taxable income because you're able to reduce your expenses from your revenue. So you only pay taxes on your profit, but also you're only paying FICA taxes on your salary. So your distributions are FICA exempt, which is huge. So we're talking about this stuff and it sounds great, but we need it to actually be recorded somewhere. So that's where you need to separate your business expenses, your LLC expenses from your personal expenses. Now, a note on that too, when you pay taxes through an LLC or S Corp, it's actually, it's called pass-through. So even though your company is making the money, you are actually making the money. So you pay taxes on your personal taxes. Your business doesn't pay taxes. However, you still need to have your business keep track of its revenue and expenses through some sort of accounting software. So I'm going to show you two different softwares I use to facilitate the management of my money and being able to kind of keep that record of my expenses, profit, payroll, and stuff all separate from my individual expenses. You might have heard me talk about Wave before. It's a bit of a love-hate with them, but the great thing about Wave is they break down the accounting and payroll and invoicing to a super, super simple level. The downside of that is there are some additional features that I wish to see in there, but it might be because I'm just pushing the platform a little bit too hard past what the intention of it is supposed to be. But what's really cool about Wave is you have accounting, invoicing, payments, and payroll. So accounting, it'll hook up to your bank account, and I'll talk about that in a second here. It'll automatically bring in all the transactions, and then you can classify stuff. So you can say, this was a cell phone expense, an internet expense, a vehicle expense, you want to deduct your mileage and stuff like that. Then you have your invoicing, so you can directly invoice your clients from Wave. It's pretty versatile. They can pay with, credit cards, ACH transfers. You can do recurring billing, all that. Here's where you can accept their payments, and then you can do payroll. So payroll's a tricky thing in like the accounting world and stuff, and it can be expensive, but Wave breaks it down really nice. So here's their pricing. So their accounting and invoicing is free. There's no obligation to use their other services. But when you do get to the point where you are using payroll, it's a $35 a month base fee and then $6 per employee and you're an employee. So that pricing's for the states that they actually like submit your taxes in. There's only like 13 of them or 14 of them. And this is an annoying part of it because I have an employee outside of a state that they do payroll in, and it's just I had to leave them for that reason. But anyways, so basically when you are doing payroll, there are taxes that you put aside. So the company basically takes a portion of the taxes out of your check, and they do that for the part of the employee's portion or all of the employee's portion, and then the employer has to pay taxes as well. And so payroll will keep those, and quarterly what they'll do is they'll submit them to the state. And so you have to go to like the state's portal and submit your taxes. I've actually never done any of that because I've always used software that does it for me. And for this price, it's really nice. But you got to make sure that they are doing that in one of the states that you're in. If not, you pay 20 bucks a month and then you have to manually go and do that with the state. I hate doing all that stuff. It's probably easy, but I would rather just pay somebody to do it. And then invoicing that you pay per transaction. So Wave's just like an all-in-one platform for small businesses to handle your accounting, your payments, and your payroll. And it's really easy to use. And so I would recommend it if they are in your state. There are other people or companies out there. One of them is called Xero, Xero. They do the accounting, but you have to go with Gusto to do your payroll, and that's a bit of a more expensive setup. However, there is more functionality in that setup. And then QuickBooks is also another alternative. They do the payroll and the accounting. All right, so I mentioned when you're doing accounting, it automatically imports transactions from your bank. So what you need is a bank account. I recently signed up for Novo. So far, I like it. It's got a lot of simple features. I also hate going with like a lot of the big companies like, I don't know, B of A, which I use them on something else because there's like fees and stuff. And I feel like these new digital banks are just a lot more streamlined for small businesses. There's no fees. A lot of the features are just like super streamlined for what we need. I hate logging into like a big bank account and that your dashboard is just like the most useless thing ever. But this one, so far I've liked it. Really easy to apply. You can actually send invoices from here, and you can set aside like taxes if you wanted to with reserves. Transfers are free. You could deposit checks digitally, and I don't know. I use Stripe for some stuff, and they integrate nicely with Stripe. Accepted worldwide, blah, 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 and integrates with like Apple Pay and stuff. So I don't know. I use this. I'm going to put a link below for this one. If you sign up, you get 40 bucks. And then I get 40 bucks as well. Wave, I don't get any sort of benefit. They don't have an affiliate program, but I'll still throw their name out there. And yeah, so I would check out Bank Novo. So basically the steps are you create your LLC. Once you have that, you can create your bank account because they need to see that you're an actual business, an accepted business with your local corporation commission. And then you can create your accounting account. Once your business is created as well, put all that information in there. It needs to be officially created before you actually create either the bank account or the accounting software because you need the corporation already formed. All right, one last thing before you guys, I'm sure you're ready to go off and start an LLC after you've seen like all these benefits, but I just want to let you know too that in my organization, it's a little bit unique because I have a partner. And so for a while, we were basically just split owners of the same company. So we were both members of the LLC. And as time goes on, there are different benefits to, instead of us, our personal selves, being the owners of that company, what we're doing is we're keeping our parent company intact, but then we're creating two other LLCs that are going to be the owners of that parent company. And then the individuals are each owners of their respective companies. So we each own 100% of our individual companies, and then from there, those companies own the parent company. And there's a couple benefits to that. One of them is that when you have a partner, your finances are essentially split when it comes to like expenses. So if you were to take like one of us wanting to buy something that's like really big, that's more for like, say if I wanted to buy like a $10,000 computer and my partner didn't, well, that tax benefit would be shared between both of us because it comes off of our total profit. And so we're both taking like an equal amount of tax benefits from that. And by having individual companies, you're able to put those expenses on your personal companies and all the stuff that's shared on your parent company. And that allows to keep finances a lot more fair, basically. Additionally, it opens up an avenue to monetize other sources where you might not be a partner in. And so say if like, I don't have YouTube monetized yet, but I plan on doing that this year if you guys subscribe and get my watch time up a little bit. But once that happens, that's all mine. So it doesn't really make sense to, share it. So if you do plan on having other revenue streams that are apart from your business venture with your partner, then it also makes sense to have different LLCs for you guys to run your respective revenue sources in through. Well, guys, there's a lot of benefits to forming an LLC for your web design business. I realize that this is a pretty similar setup for a lot of different types of businesses, but then again, there's probably different tools you want to use for other businesses, and I'm the website guy, and I want you guys to get content that's streamlined exactly for, starting a web design business or growing your web design business. So if this is your first time on the channel, I hope this content's helped you out. Feel free to check out some of the other stuff. I make a lot of content about building a website business, as well as just like the tools I use and stuff like that. So hopefully this video has helped you determine, the right setup for your company. At least this is the way I've done it, and it was right for me. So I can only assume it's right for many of you, but please do your own homework, and good luck out there, guys. Hey, I really appreciate you guys watching until the end, and we'll catch you guys in the next one.